This is such a cool and powerful concept that I play with a lot. Let's imagine that you are the creator of everything. And I already believe this to be true, but if you don't, just hypothetically, let's imagine that everything is created by you. Your thoughts, your feelings, where you are at in life, what you have, what you don't have, the pace that you're moving at. And if we want to take this a step further, the way that people treat you, the way that your boss treats you, your friendships, your family is created by you. Let's take it another step further. The way that people are is created by you. And then you maybe ask the question like, how? And this is exactly the question that you want to be asking. How are you creating other people? How are you creating the way that people treat you? And what I love about this concept is that it puts you into a position of radical ownership. Of course, not everything is inside of your control, but there are a lot of things that are inside of your control that you might not be focusing on. And this is related to the distinction between victim versus owner. Are you a victim of life, or are you taking radical ownership? A victim is, for example, circumstances happen and life is just happening to me. It's like, oh, it's outside of my control. There's nothing I can do about it. They are just the way they are. I am just the way that I am. This is who I am. How often do you hear people say these things? No, you've created yourself to be like this. You are not a victim of circumstances. You want to take radical ownership, because only in this position you can create things in life. That's what I love about this concept, is you can become the architect of your life internally and also externally. So let's play with a few of these things. Like, you are the creator of everything. So how are you creating the way that other people treat you? Are you accepting things in relationships that are unacceptable to you? Do you set boundaries? Are you grounded in your values, in what you are looking for? Are you leading in a relationship? So for example, if we look at an intimate relationship, are you waiting for the other person to do something and only then you show love? Or are you leading with love? Are you being assertive in relationships? Because so much love is conditional in relationships. It's transactional. Only if you do this, I do this. So you are creating these relationships. Are you leading in the way that you want your partner to treat you? I talk to a lot of guys about dating, for example, and when they are talking about texting, like, some people, they barely text. Some people, they want to text every single moment of the day. So there was a guy that was talking to me and he said, like, she's barely texting me, she's not into me, she's this, she's that. And I would love to text more, but she's not doing it. Or I would love to have a call with her or a voice message. And I asked him, have you been texting more often? Like, no. Have you been sending her voice messages? Like, no. So maybe she has the exact same thoughts that you are having, but she's too afraid to lead. And it's like, oh, wait. So he was leading with, this is how I want to be communicating. Let's see how she receives it. So he started to send voice messages. She started to send voice messages back. It's sometimes that simple. How are you creating the situation? How are you creating the relationship in the way that people treat you? And this is where every single experience that you have, and this is where it becomes powerful, because you are such a powerful creator. You have no idea how powerful you are, but you're just not intentional about it. You're just not guiding it into the direction that is really resourceful in the things that you want to be creating in life. So and I recently had a session about this, that guy was experiencing a lack of confidence in life. So we explored, like, how do you create a lack of confidence? And it's a weird question, like, how am I creating a lack of confidence? A 0 out of 10 confidence in life. But there are things that you're doing, things that you focus on, things that you reference, that create a lack of confidence in your life. So there is a strategy in place, but you're just not aware of it. You're just not aware of how you are creating these things. And the powerful thing is, once it comes into your awareness, you are able to play with it and change it. So that's the power of asking this question, even in a seemingly negative way, as in, how am I creating a lack of confidence? Because for him, what he noticed is, he was not grounded in his truth. He was looking outside for things like, oh, what do people say? Like, oh, is this how I should be acting in this environment? How do people respond? Are they happy? Or should I be doing something different maybe? Or how? So he was constantly referencing things outside of himself. What are the results? What are the outcomes? Oh, and this resulted in a lack of confidence. And there was even a deeper layer to this, as in, based on the evidence and the data that he was gathering outside of himself, he was also putting heavy judgments on these conclusions. As in, oh, I'm failing, I will never be successful, I am this, I am that. So there were a lot of layers there in how he was creating a lack of confidence, a high external reference. And based on the data that he gathered, he created conclusions. And on top of that, he put heavy judgments on he would never be successful. He is a failure. He is that. So it's obvious that you won't experience a lot of confidence if this is the strategy that you have in place. And this is also conditioning. This is how we're often used to. And we think this is the way things are. No, we just trained ourselves to create in this kind of way and to create a lack of confidence. So we can flip the script. We can change it. So what if confidence was not derived from the outside, but from within? What would that look like? Oof, okay. So now you start to play with it because you can see that the dominant factor was the external reference for creating confidence. So this is why I don't believe in the part of stack evidence and you gain confidence. I think this is such a weak place to create confidence from because I don't want my confidence to be dependent on something outside of me that fluctuates on a number in my bank account. Or what is working or what is not working. My confidence is derived from within. I'm grounded in my truth, in my clarity, in who I am, in how I want to be acting in this world, regardless of what the outcome is. This is where I derive my confidence from my truth. So this is what we explore with him. So what if we would change the place that you derive your confidence from? And he was able in that session to already tap into that level of confidence. Of course, there's decades of conditioning that needs to be replaced, but he was already feeling the difference. So how can you become the creator of everything in your life? And that's what you want to question. So if we would take it to the extreme, like I said, you create the way that people are. And this one is, if you get this, oh man, like this is so much fun to be creating with. So if I look at the clients that I serve, if I have a client in front of me and I would say, it's the biggest loser. And I create that person like, this is such a loser. How would I be talking to that person? What kind of energy would I bring in that session and into that conversation? Like it wouldn't be as powerful as it could be. What if I create that individual as the most powerful individual that I could be serving in this moment? How would I be talking to that person? How would I be holding that person? How inspired would I be by that person? What I often hear from clients is, you speak to me in a way that I don't see myself as. It's like you speak to a different version of me that I can feel yet or that I can tap into yet. But by creating them like that, they are able to tap into that version themselves. How are you creating people? If I create the person that I'm talking to, doesn't even have to be a client, as the most important person that I could be talking to in that moment, how would I be treating that conversation differently than, oh, this is just another person that I need to be talking to. Let's talk about the weather. Like, oh shit, I have stuff to do. Of course, you are creating everything. It would be so much different. So just a reframe or a switch in the way that you're looking at the world and the way that you're looking at that person, it changes your whole relationship, the way that you feel, the energy that you bring into that connection. And this is where you also want to move into what are the more challenging aspects of life. What if your boss gets mad at you for whatever reason? He's triggered, he's annoyed very quickly, he starts yelling at you in any kind of way. How are you creating this? How are you creating him? Like, oh, he's such a dick. Like, oh, why is he treating me and disrespecting me like that? Like, you are creating your experience based on what you observed from him. There is an objective reality and you are putting meaning, or you creating meaning out of this. So I, for example, had a boss when I was working in the fitness, and he was very totalitarian. And he was working his ass off, by the way. So he was not just pointing fingers at people like they should be doing this and you need to be doing it perfect. Like he was grinding hard. So I respected that. And he won the perfection from everyone. So he was drilling and drilling and drilling everyone. He was focusing on all the details and the way that we were treating the customers and blah, 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 all of this stuff. A lot of people were complaining about him. Like, oh, he's not human and he's not this and the way that he's treating people and oh, it shouldn't be doing this and blah, blah, blah. They were creating him like that. So they had an experience of him. The way that I created him was I loved him because he wanted the best for me. This is what he was doing. He wanted perfection from me. And he was pulling the best out of me by drilling me like this. And I loved it because I showed up differently. Because I experienced a boss that was just not caring. It's like, oh yeah, do this, do this, do this. So yeah, of course, it's a more relaxed environment. but I want someone that wants the best for me. And that's how I interpreted the way that he was acting and the way that he was behaving. So I had a different experience of him than my colleagues. My colleagues were like, oh, he's not human. And I'm creating it as in he wants the best out of me. Like in this environment, I get pushed, I get challenged to be the best. Awesome, I have a different experience of him. So when he's yelling or he's drilling me, I'm like, I'm excited. Like I see a next level for me. I'm taking on this challenge. So how are you creating people? Because, and this is, like I said, this is where it gets challenging, when people get mad at you, or people start triggering you, or people are doing this, or maybe even curse at you. How are you creating that response? Because you can say, well, they are disrespecting me, but what if something happened in their life? What if you realize that maybe they lost a loved one and they're not able to process it. They're accumulating all this emotion and they haven't had this release yet. So they don't know how to process it. They're walking around with this accumulated emotions, and all of a sudden something happens and boom, they're triggered. Like if you know the whole backstory of what happened in their life, they lost a loved one, they're unable to process it, they're carrying all the heavy responsibilities for the family, whatever it is, you become compassionate towards them. And this is where I always come from a place of, what if something happened in their life? What if something happened that I don't know? And that's the reason they're acting like this. So if I consistently choose to put on that frame, like what if something happened? What if something terrible happened? And what they need is not me just confronting them in any kind of way, but what they need is love. What they need is someone to just hold space for them, to just see them beyond their initial response and initial trigger. So this is how you, like I said, you can take this in so many directions. You can apply this to any single relationship in your life. And we haven't even touched upon, you are the creator of everything. You are the creator of where you are at in life. You are the creator of your thoughts and your feelings. Like all of these examples that I'm giving, how you are creating relationships, is also how you are creating your own experience and your own thinking. But you have to intentionally guide it. And I think that's the power of this whole concept, is you are going to be able to intentionally guide the way that you are creating. You become the creator if you believe I am the creator of everything. So what if you would take on that lens and you start moving through life like that? Every single relationship, every single goal that you have or don't have, progress that you have or don't have, every single feeling, every single thought, every single thing is created by you. How would you intentionally create and architect a different internal reality, but also a different external reality? And yeah, I can go deeper and deeper into this, how you are creating your thoughts, how you are creating your feelings, but I just want to put that concept out there for you because it has served me so much in my life. This is something that I go back to so often, and even with the clients that I serve, we explore this in a lot of cases, like how are you creating this reality for yourself? And sometimes you first have to know how you create something before you're able to change it. Instead of immediately, how do I create a different reality? How am I actually creating my current reality? How am I creating all this fear and hesitation? How am I creating this lack of confidence? How am I creating all this overthinking and overanalyzing? How am I creating this? And that's also when you see how you can create it differently.